Hello there. This is Ash with another episode of E-Wasted. And we're coming to the end of our 8th gen i-series rabbit hole with the i7-8700 today. And this is one that I actually got out of like another system. It was a smaller little compact, tiny little HP system that it seemed like, having the i7 in there didn't seem like it could really push the system that far with it. So we will walk through the build that's going on behind me, unwrapping stuff, get into that case, which is the old Hynix by Roswell here. Yeah, it's a pretty decent looking case, especially it's nice because it has room to mount the 120 millimeter fans, you know, in the front side, behind the grill, so it's not visible inside the case. Yeah, pretty slick little system there. Let's see. Check that out. There's the Roswell case there. I'm gonna go back and can see in the pictures here as well. There's what it looks like with the little bit of color there, a little bit of blue fan going. These blue 120 millimeter fans that I got. It was these guys right here. Pretty sure that's the one. But yeah. Anyway, so if you were going to do this on your own and you went to get an i7-8700, like, would it really be worth it? $80? And I really don't think so. Really don't think so, because I mean, right now for like $83 you can get a brand new Ryzen 5 5600G, which is definitely a little bit newer and pretty sure would outperform this, and it'd be like brand spanking new. But if you come upon this cheaper than what you could find it used on eBay, then maybe, like myself, it would be worth putting something together. But okay, so you got this taken care of, you got your case, you got your CPU. What kind of motherboard are you going to use? Well, I went the AliExpress route once more with this Machinist H110 LGA 1151 motherboard. And the interesting thing about this that I thought is that it claimed that it supported 6th gen, 7th gen, 8th gen, and 9th gen i-series chips, which is pretty cool because most like of the mainstream brands you see, they're only going to either support like either 6th and 7th or 8th and 9th, or sometimes they'll only support like one of them because the company cheaps out and doesn't do a BIOS update even when though the chipset's capable of supporting another CPU. But yeah, go to the casework I'm doing here. What am I working on? Oh yeah, putting the, like I was talking about, putting those fans in the front, in between the grill and stuff, getting those suckers in there. Look at me go. But if you did come upon for cheap or free or whatever, how well does this perform? It's 13,000 in the multi-thread rating, or 13,000, almost 600, and then almost 2,700, a little more on the single thread rating. So really, it's a pretty capable little CPU there. Yeah, 6 core, 12 thread. Except this is the K variant. Oh. Okay, so we're not going to want to compare that to RX because we don't have the K variant. So let's see here. Where did we find those, huh? This is what we want. Not the K variant. Still 6 core, 12 thread, but yeah, 12802 and then 2636. So a little less, but hey, that's 3.2 gigahertz clock speed with 4.6 gigahertz turbo. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. But not worth $80 used when you can get like newer stuff for better. But if you have to do that, you can always go to AliExpress here and get a cheap motherboard to offset the cost, I guess. Maybe that'd make it worth it. Still not quite, I don't think. But anyways, as we move along through the build and stuff here, maybe we'll click this into a little bit quicker mode. just because we don't want this video being too long, watching me fiddle with cases. So I've got the SSD there. Yeah, so that was a terabyte solid state drive. I think that was actually the 2.5 solid state drive that came in the little HP build. So this one ended up with 256 gig. This little sucker here. I'm pretty sure this is the culprit. The right data. Oh yeah. 256 gigabyte NVMe. And it, maybe generic, but as far as the disk mark scores go, I mean, 18,000, almost 19,000, 18,711. That's not too bad for a score for a little NVMe. So it scores right up there with some other pretty decent brands and stuff like Samsung. I've seen those score in that range too. But, anyways, so run through what do we have in this system. What did I end up putting in there? It's the i7-8700. Ooh, got 32 gigabytes of RAM. Look at that. And that was just off one chip that came also in that HP system originally. So got the one 32 gig stick of RAM. They're set up to just get one more stick, because that's all that motherboard supports here. Is it's got the two slots. So yeah, it's got one stick. You can stick one more stick in there. Yeah, not a bad deal there. But let me see, what else did we have going on in here? We had the 32 gigs of RAM, and then this was kind of just a circumstantial thing where I ended up with this RX 5500 4 gig model. And they are not, the best card out there, not the best low voltage card out there, but it was like $40. And at least it's newer, so you got some newer features on it. And it, I think we still had the 720p monitor here, so it's a little bit of a nerf score. It should score like 8700. That's like the average you're seeing on the pass mark. But we got a little lower. I think we still had the 720p monitor when we did the benchmark. But anyways, what else did we have in this build here? We had, so yeah, there was the terabyte 2.5 SATA drive, then the 256 gigabyte NVMe drive, and yeah, Windows 11 Pro install that ended up happening after I got everything in. But look at me go in the video here. We'll start back over that, getting that NVMe in there, and it looks like that is the one we were talking about there. Yeah, that is the same one. My purchase history, it was the same timeline as the video recording, so I kind of assumed that they went together like that anyways. But anyways, here, what else did we have to look at with the hardware wise? So yeah, here is the cheap CPU fan that I got, and it was still keeping things in temperature. I forget if I left this one on. I might have put something else on before I ended up selling. I really forget here, but I think this was actually keeping it in range even when under load, which wouldn't have worked if you had like one of the 2011-3, like the Xeons sucking down 140 watts. One of these, I tried one of these on one of those, and it did not work. It's, yeah, there's a certain point, and then when you just need a tower cooler with some copper heat pipes, at least bare minimum to keep stuff cool, and that's kind of the threshold. So you look at the i7-8700, how many watts is it? Yeah, 65 watt processor. So that's why one of these works on that, because this doesn't suck a lot of juice. 65 watts, that's like, yeah, that's nothing. It's just pretty much like the Ryzen's and stuff too. They are pretty minimal in their power consumption for most of the like Ryzen 5s and even Ryzen 7s. I think you get up into the Threadrippers and whatnot, I'm not sure, and the i9s on the Intel side, and then you'll be sucking down some more juice, I would imagine. Yeah, I think this one we just stuck okay, when I was first putting it together, we had a RX 580 that we had in here. But it was a really loud card. Like, it would get, it would get up to just like gaming regular performance, and it would just snap that fan into something like super, yeah, just super loud. And really, it didn't score much better, like at benchmarking, than the RX 5500. So it ended up being a better fit for this system, being something a little bit newer, also less power consumption too. It was nice because it does have this did have the 400-watt power supply. So while it would have worked with the RX 580, it would have been just a bit overkill, really. Here, let's see. Do we get any of the benchmarks here? Maybe, yeah. There we go. Look at this. It's doing some benchmarks. Oh yeah, it's getting her done. What else did we have going on in this system here? So we look at the scores, and the CPU on the multi-thread score, I've got 11,097, and you compare that to average pass mark, and it's up into the 12,802, which it could just be something with the CPU itself, but it's more than likely some kind of setting issue in the Machinist motherboard, because there's all kinds of little itty bitty settings that you gotta have turned on just right for your CPU to be hitting its max. Not even talking about with overclocking, just its max potential for unoverclocked. Just having all the settings dialed, anyways. And some of these are set up a little different, honestly. I mean, it's like, yes, definitely a little bit different layout than you see in the conventional motherboards. And then the other thing I've noticed across most of these boards so far is that even if they have a 4-pin fan on the motherboard, they don't really have fan control. So you plug in any CPU fan, and they'll usually just be like blowing full speed. And it's kind of annoying, and it makes you just get cheap fans for it, because then you got to get ones that only have the 3-pin that are naturally quiet, not really kicking up into such high RPMs. But yeah, it's something that I've definitely witnessed with these boards. You get going cheap all the way across the spread if you're doing the AliExpress motherboard build, because you're like, might as well just get 3-pin fans so they don't have a bunch of fan noise to deal with, because that's what these things roll like. And like, as far as condition of this one, I think this might have been one of the first ones I've seen that they actually double boxed it. It was pretty amazing compared to the other AliExpress where they only put one really thin box inside like a weather protective bag. But I'm pretty sure this one was actually a box inside a box. And it just amazed the shit out of me. I was just blown away. It's like, oh, it doesn't look like anybody's been playing soccer with this when they stop at the airport or where it's not. Nobody's playing street hockey with the motherboard box like the last few. Yeah. But anyways, here, as long as just doing my drivers install, I admit I use Driver Booster. I mean, you can go to the system website and individually download the drivers, but usually it's you got to uninstall it afterwards. But Driver Booster makes it pretty user friendly. Start back into what else is I doing back in here? Something. Have a little bit more going in the background, but let's see. Was there anything else that I meant to talk about that I didn't hear? So yeah, there's the RX 5500. And it's like actually got a max TDP of 150 watts, which is pretty high considering. I mean, this might not be talking about the model I was using though, because I've got the generic one that you see in the Dells or the Lenovo's or whichever they were that came out. But I'm pretty sure they're not as power hungry just because they only got the 4 gigs of VRAM. But that's what it says, I guess, even for standard for these. So maybe, yeah, maybe it can suck a lot of juice still. Yeah, well, look at that. And at some point during it, I was having some kind of booting issue, and that's always fun too. Figuring out how to get your Windows drive to boot. If you're doing, loading Windows on it. And it's one thing I find out I have to do for Windows 11 a lot is like it'll say there's some kind of issue with like the DVD drive or something, so it can't, install right from the Windows 11 boot drive. So many times you just have to go install Windows 10 first, and then you can install Windows 11 after that. But yeah, let's see. Was there anything else to look at hardware wise? So yeah, the other thing I was going to talk about, if you were going to go onto eBay and buy a Radeon RX 5500, not XT, 4GB graphics card. This was the cheapest one I found right now, and it's like $70 with like another $7.36 shipping. So is this worth it? Much like the CPU, I would say no. It's, as far as price performance, it's way the heck out there. I mean, for pretty much for this price, if you look around, you can get a GTX 1070, which is way better, like at least double the performance. Yeah. But anyways, let's see here. Is there anything we are forgetting? Go through the pictures. So yeah, there's the inside of the case. Had my cheapo rainbow CPU fan. There's the RX 5500, the blue LED in the front there. The Roswell 400-watt power supply. Yeah, all in all, pretty balanced little semi-newish system. I mean, going for the cheapo, but at least you get a new motherboard, new power supply. Not too shabby. 32 gigs of RAM, and a terabyte plus the 256 NVMe. It's decent amount of storage space for. I think this one ended up being listed for like 400 or something. It's not a bad little starter system if you're just thinking about getting into gaming. But yeah, go through the specs again one more time here. Yes, this was an 8th gen i7 gamer. The new Machinist 1151 motherboard. i7-8700 at 3.2 gigahertz. 6-core, 12-thread with a new 256GB M.2 NVMe solid-state drive. An additional 1TB SATA solid-state drive. Then 1 times 32GB DDR4 2666 with an extra DIMM slot available. It's got the RX 5500 4GB variant. It has an HDMI and 2 DisplayPorts. Guess no DVI, just 1 HDMI, 2 DisplayPort. But yeah, new Roswell case and 400-watt power supply, and there it is, folks. That's it. So yeah, I guess we will call this good here, and let me see. Yes, yeah, we will call this build complete and end our adventure down the 8th gen i-series rabbit hole. Ooh, we did it. It's done. And I will talk to you on the next episode here, which we'll do something. I got a couple more videos of builds that can do that are already on the back burner here. So I will talk to you then about one of those. Adios.